Okay, first is how I see Instagram, which is maybe different than a lot of artists out there. I see the purpose of Instagram. I personally don't care about the followers. Okay, I really don't. It's just a byproduct of working that free tool. So the platform, the reason why I don't care about the followers, you guys, that number, is because the platform could be taken away from me tomorrow. And I don't own that information. I don't own those followers. Tomorrow they could be gone. You know, Instagram was not always here. It is not always going to be here. Same thing with Facebook, right? So all of these kinds of tools are temporary. We only have them as long as these people keep this stuff going. Now, they are a great tool, but we don't own the tool, right? So we're not in ownership of it. So we are at some risk investing all this time and energy into these tools if we don't get those people to convert over, right? So what I care about is using the tool to reach my current audience base, to attract a new audience base, and get them to that next level in our relationship. So AKA signing up for my email list, or buying my paintings. Usually that first step is getting them on the email list, which, as you guys have probably seen, is not easy to do. So the reason why I want to do that is because I own that data. I own that email list, right? So Instagram doesn't own that email list. Instagram doesn't own those relationships that I've built with you guys, right? Instagram can't take you guys away from me. You can take yourselves away from me, right? Like, so that's how I see Instagram. It's really just a tool that has leveled the playing field for, it's a free tool for marketing. And with that, of course, comes some cons and some downsides to that as well. Okay, so, but the important part is, if you're going to use it, if you're going to invest time and energy into it, make sure that you're making it count for yourself. Try everything you can to get those people on your email list, or buying a painting or a product, or signing up for a class, because then you are building a relationship with them. Then you have their contact information, right? Okay, and that's something that you will own for a lifetime, as long as those customers are granting you that permission, right? And I look at all of this like nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes me squat jack diddly. You know? So everything I get, you know, I'm grateful for that. So it's a great tool for that reason, that you can, you know, build that audience. You're basically, it's a marketing tool. So you're basically advertising every single day for free to as many people who will stop and pay attention, right? And build brand awareness for free, essentially. Nothing is free, right? So I said, but wait, nothing is ever really free. No, so you are still going to be investing a lot of time, a lot of energy into this, because of the downsides, right? The learning curve, the things that you're going to have to test, like things Naomi was sharing, studying those insights, and making improvements along the way. So while IG and other social media platforms have leveled the playing field, it's also oversaturated for that very reason, right? The fact that it's free, the fact that it's easily accessible, that's also part of the problem of it, because everybody's on there. Everybody's doing Instagram. It is oversaturated. And I'm not meaning to say this to like stir up scarcity. It's just keeping it real. You know, like, this is reality. This is the truth. So the challenge there is, like, it can be hard to stand out. It can be hard to build momentum. Hard does not mean that it's impossible. Obviously, I did it, you know, starting 6 years ago. However, the folks that are not 100% committed to it, they won't have much success, and they'll get weeded out, right? So these are the folks who give up easily, or who don't want to put in the time or the effort. And when I say this, there's nothing wrong with that decision, right? Like, If you make that decision, which we're going to get into some questioning here in a little bit for you guys, then make that decision, right? Like make that choice. But just know, like, this is a skill set that has to be built. It is a long game. It is not, there's no magic bullet, right? It's not a quick, what is it? Get rich quick type of thing. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to build it. So it ain't easy being cheesy, right? So there's no fairy tales about it. It's interesting because I think people want faster results and faster, satisfaction or instant gratification from it. And that could not be further from the truth, right? Okay. So now that, you guys have heard me say all of that, this is really what I see as the truth about social media. Everything in life is 50-50. There's going to be some shit sandwich about it, right? Like everything has a cost, has an investment. Just like, Debbie saying, going to an in-person thing, guess what? That costs you time, that costs you energy, that costs you getting over the butterflies and talking to people. It's like none of that is technically easy. And then there comes the maintaining of those relationships and following up. It's like you start to build that relationship at that show with those people, and then it still requires time and effort and energy after the fact. You can't just like show up once. Hi, I'm Debbie. Here's my work. It's like, no, you have to keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up. So even it's no different than in-person networking and collaborating and marketing. It's just an evolution of it, right? It's just a freer, easier evolution of it. Well, yeah, easier access evolution of it. So now we're going to kind of go into some questions, because I think with everything, being 100% truthful, honest with ourselves about where we're at, where we want to be, how we want to get there, right, is so important. So we don't want to be lying to ourselves. We also don't want to be chasing down like shiny object syndrome, everything everybody is doing, if we are not willing to commit to that thing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you guys put this in the chat for me. How important do you think it is for you to grow your Instagram followers over the next 90 days? 1 being, I don't want to work on this at all. I don't think it's that important. Maybe it's not where I want to put my time investment right now. 10 being, I think this is critical to my business to focus intentionally on this and see some dramatic growth over the next 90 days. And then of course, anywhere in between there, but those are the 2 extremes. Now that you've kind of got some clarity on that for yourself, how much time, and for somebody who's at a 3, it might be very minimal time that they're willing to invest, right? So how much time are you willing to invest in growing your Instagram followers over the next 90 days? You could do it by the week. I think the week would be the best thing. Or you could do it by the day if you're planning on posting manually by the day. All right, so is there anything that you are not willing to do or give up in order to grow your Instagram followers? I think this is such a great question, because sometimes we think that we're all in on something, or we think we're making a firm commitment, but we really don't, and so all of this is just to give you guys personally clarity. Like, is there anything that you're unwilling to do? Is there anything that's a higher priority that you will not give up, right? In order to grow your Instagram followers over the next 90 days. Because I feel like sometimes people don't do this kind of work, do this kind of questioning, clarity work. And what happens is they just get information. Like they just buy courses on Instagram, get the tools and tactics and techniques, and then they don't apply it, and they don't understand why, right? So because they haven't done this like clarity work within themselves. And I just think that this is so important. Anyways, so then you won't be sabotaging yourself or fooling yourself or lying to yourself or beating yourself up for something you didn't want to do in the first place, right? Okay, so what is the long-term impact on your business? And this is the other thing, like if you are truly building an art business, you have to look at everything through a business lens, right? Like, what is the long-term impact? If I grow my Instagram followers, if I commit to that right now, because we can't commit to everything, right? Like you can't spread yourself too thin. So you gotta, the phrase pick a bitch, you know, it's like you gotta pick a lane, you gotta stay in it, and don't spread yourself too thin, right? So what is the long-term impact on your business if you grow your followers 10 times where you are now, 3 months from now? What kind of results might you see? Obviously, we're guessing on all of this. And I would do 3 months from now. I would do 6 months from now. I would do a year, and try to do 5 years if you can. I did not know when I started my Instagram account, May 2016, well, it's not 5 years, 6 years from then, that I would be where I was with it and be doing what I am with it, right? So starting from 1 follower, I didn't know that if I put in the time and effort that I might get to, 88K followers, right? So try to project out 3 months, realistically, what do you think can happen? 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years if you commit. Step 1, okay, so now we're gonna get into this. Step 1, what is your desired outcome with Instagram? Or for YouTube, if you want to use all these questions can apply. Okay, what is the number of followers that you would like to have by when? You want to write this down. Also, I would write down how many people do you want to be opting into your email list from your IG account each month. Don't necessarily be realistic about, don't base this off of where you are right now. Like, what is it that you really want to create? What do you want? Right? You don't need to justify what you want. You don't need to reason about it. The only reason you need is that you want to create this. You don't need to feel bad about what you want to create or feel like you're somehow wrong or something for wanting that number. Just write it down. What's the number of followers? How many people are opting into your email list? You want it because you want to see it created. So anytime we make up reasons to justify why we want to create something, it's really just that we're trying to convince ourselves that it's okay to want it. Right? And we're possibly afraid that we're not going to fit in any longer with our peer group or something like that if we get that thing. That's why too, doing that deep dive fear inventory is so good. And then I said, it's okay to want it, period, problem solved. No reason needed. Okay, step 2 is what we're just identified as point B, the point B that you want to get to. Now we're identifying point A. So in order to get anywhere, you have to know where you are now and what point B is, like where you want to be. Okay, so where are you now? How many followers do you have right now? Okay, so in order to go from point A to point B, you've got to know the reality and the metrics of both points, right? Period. So you definitely want to get off the roller coaster ride of emotional distortion and focus on truth, the hard facts, the data, right? So, okay, the next step is, who do you have to be? What do you have to do in order to get that point B result? Again, keep in mind, we haven't said, I'm going for the point B result yet, right? Like, so we're just exploring all of this. So who are you as that person who's getting that point B result? What are you doing? What kind of daily, weekly actions are you taking? How do you feel like about your post? Are you confident? Are you not taking yourself so seriously, or the vice versa of that, So really step into that person. Who is that future version of yourself who's getting that point B result? Also, what are you having to do? What kind of daily, weekly actions are you having to take to have gotten to that 5K? Okay, now if, this is the big if, okay, the big if you decide that I'm going all in, I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to 10x my Instagram results, right? I've made a choice, and it is a choice that you get to make or not make, right? And you get to make it every day, right? Every week. So if you decide to make that choice, the next thing is basically committing, banishing all excuses, getting focused on all the little annoying things that have to come along with the Instagram app or the evil boogeyman algorithm. It's like all the things, right? So it's like, screw it, let's do it. I'm committed, I'm going all in. And I would also decide, like, how much time are you going to commit? Are you going to commit for the next 6 months, for 3 months, and really, really go all in and really do every freaking thing you can possibly do to make that thing work? That is all I have ever done. Okay. Anytime I've ever signed up for a course, if I've decided, hey, I'm going to implement this, I always make a very clear choice. I'm going 100% all in. My focus is all in on this. No freaking excuses. Yes, I get to feel like shit about it. Yes, I get to be upset. Yes, I get to be angry. Yes, I get to be disappointed, but I'm going 100% committed all in, and I'm going to try everything I can possibly try and test, because otherwise, how do I know what works and what doesn't work, right? So that is just how I make decisions and how I operate, and it serves me, right? Otherwise, what happens if you don't do that, you can't know if it was ever going to work, right? And then you oscillate like a pendulum, right? You go, I'm going all in. This freaking sucks, and I'm not getting the results. And then excuses. You drop your commitment, and you get rubber banded back, right? So it's called you're oscillating back and forth, like a freaking boomerang. But you do want to make a decision if you're going to stay committed or not, regardless of those things, right? Do everything you can not to oscillate back and forth, not to boomerang. Also, what happens too is sometimes people, and I know I've done this too, so there's no judgment here whatsoever. I just know that it doesn't work, right? What doesn't work is, like, you start out committed. I'm going to focus on this thing. I'm going to test. I'm going to see what results I get, see if it's worth my time and effort and energy investment or not. Making sure that we're dedicating enough time to be able to see that, and enough quality effort, right? And I'm not going to switch gears. I'm not going to go, okay, now forget it. Now I'm on YouTube, or now I'm focusing on this over here, or Pinterest, or you know what I mean, or something else, or like totally switching gears. So that's something too, as creators, that we'll often do, is like just not sticking it out long enough to see the results, right? And we'll kind of switch gears and get some instant gratification, and then we don't build any momentum, right? So it's really, really, this part, this is everything. If you don't do this, then you don't win, period. And end of story. So it is everything.